talk about the big games today. Well, we've previewed a lot of games so far this week, but one that I wanted to save for today was this big one between Penn State and Ohio State. The battle between two 6-0 teams here. Penn State on the road so far, a couple of victories. They beat Illinois 30-13. They beat Northwestern 41-13, and they're obviously on fire right now in covering the spread. We've made a joke about it to a certain extent. Now, we talk about James Franklin, covering the spread for the alumni, but that's mostly kind of been, um, when laying big points at home, where they can kind of control if they need to score more points, they do, right? So, as a road underdog, Franklin is just 12-12 in his career, but this streak for Penn State covering spreads actually goes back well into last season. Now Franklin is Penn State is 15-6-1 against the spread in Big Ten games over the last two seasons. So they're already another thing that Penn State is doing. Call it random, call it whatever you want, but Penn State is getting turnovers, and that's what they do. That's the most interesting thing about it. I mean, here's a team that over the last 2 years is a plus 27 in turnover margin, but so far this year they're already plus 10 in 6 games. So, like I said, call it random, whatever turnovers are, but Penn State gets you the ball. Now, Ohio State at home, they've won big, they've won convincingly. They are 16-11 in their last 27 games against the spread as a home favorite, and over the last, uh, for these two, we think of this as a defensive game, and you see this total having, kind of dipped here. It opened 44 and a half. It did get bet up at first, all the way up to 48 and a half, but we've seen it come back quite a bit here. The under looks to be a pretty popular side today. I don't know if I feel this way. I think the teams are efficient enough offensively, and with this slight decline off of that top, I feel contrarian here. I'm going to take the over in this game. Now, Ohio State has gone 1-4 to the under thus far against 1A teams, but um, Ohio State kind of owning this series a little bit, but it's gone under in 4 of the last 5 meetings as well. But I think the total might, to me, feels just a little low. I think we have, efficient offenses that maybe can exploit it over the top a little bit downfield. Not deep threats, but more over the middle, uh, past the middle part of the defense and getting over a little bit there. Not big play, but big gains. And I think that's what you end up seeing with when you're talking about good quality teams. Sure. Do we think defense? Do we think low scores when it comes out here? Um, you know, with a Big Ten team, right? I mean, look, this is an Iowa This is an Iowa total low, but still a pretty low total when you have a quarterback. That both guys are like 65% passers. They've combined for like 20 touchdowns and 1 interception this year. They're extremely efficient. So why wouldn't we have a little bit of offense, enough offense here to get both teams into the 20s here today? Now, uh, maybe Ohio State's still 4.5 point favorite. I should say something there because would think Penn State, they've had a terrific season as well. And they've covered the last 3 trips into the horseshoe. Werner says, go Bucks. Thomas says, Ohio State, come on, but under is the best play. Uh-oh. They don't, Thomas. They don't go deep, but I'm not suggesting it to go deep. I'm just saying, look, I mean, uh, Penn State's quarterback, 9 TDs, no interceptions, 65% passer. Here, these guys have good numbers. Gary's going over. Dre's going over. Hello to Darren today. Solo says, take Penn State. They're covering every single game. Why not take them again? And we know that Penn State's been the monster cover. Franklin loves to cover. All right. That should be a good one. And remember, that's an early one. So let's get going. All right, Air Force and Navy. And this one's interesting to know just because of what's happened here on this total. This is just more of a storyline, so I wanted to save it here because 41 of the last 51 games involving 2 Service Academy teams have gone under. But the problem here is the total in this game has been drastically reduced or gone down here because everyone kind of catches wind of the trend and everything. Because I don't know if we're seeing necessarily conditions that would indicate, other than Air Force playing Navy and the massive run of unders that we see with Service Academy teams. And maybe it's gotten a little bit too low. You get there 17. Air Force is a 10-point favorite, so you're thinking what 23-13. That's over. 20-10. That's under. Who do you like to cover this spread? Do you like Air Force? They've covered 5 of the last 7 meetings, but usually 2 service academies, you're always also liking the dogs in service academy games. Thomas says the thing's down to 30. So I don't know. That's the way. I mean, I feel like this total's gotten too low now. It opened 39.5 realistically. Now there even was a look ahead at 41.5. It immediately was bet down to about 37.5. And even though Thomas says he saw a 30, the lowest I saw was 31.5. So I see it actually coming back up. But let me take a look and see what the latest line is that I see currently. I'm not going to give out that total. I can't go even I can't go under in this one, and I'm kind of preaching under because of, like I said, Darren here, Air Force and over. Dre's got Navy. Biggie's gonna say, "Give me Air Force and a teaser." And Solo says, "I'm still going under all day. It doesn't matter." And Dre says he's 34.5 right now. And I'm seeing a 33.5 at the book that I'm looking at. So, we're looking at a game, obviously, somewhere in that range of, 21 to 13 or something like that, maybe. Maybe it just depends which way you're going to go. Now, the one interesting thing about this, right, that you can kind of look what I have, 33.3. I didn't even notice that. Final. All right. Pardon me. Okay. So one more note on this is the interesting thing is the total's 33.5. The lower this total goes, it's got to help the dog a little bit, right? Because the spread really hasn't moved too much this week. It opened maybe 9. When we were on that opening line show, it opened 9 and it went up to 10. And the lower that total goes, I would almost think that the spread should actually go back under 10, but it has not. So I think that kind of makes the dog a little more live here. And I'm going to go with Navy because if that total is going to continue to go down, like I just explained, what are some feasible scores here that, still stay under the total? 24-10, that's a 14-point win, but that goes over. So you got to get it under that. The only thing you could really do is 23-10. That's still an Air Force cover, but all Navy would need is a second touchdown or a field goal, and you would think at 13 points, Navy might be going, it might be going over at that point. And again, I think those 10 points become more valuable. We were talking about 39 and a half. Even if you want to wipe out that early number or that 41 and a half, whatever, just take it at 37 and a half, which is what it was, I believe, like on Monday morning or Sunday, Monday morning. And you still have 4 points. The total's gone down, yet the spread hasn't been affected. And still, those 10 points become that much more valuable in what is expected to be a low-scoring game. So, all right, we got a few more here. Maybe Gary says, Gary is maybe different. I don't necessarily agree that they're the best bet in college, because but I think teasers are talked about disproportionately in college football from pro football. And like I said yesterday, there's a lot of debate out there about, big numbers, big line, whatever. A professional bettor, you guys, expert bettors in the Morning Steam chat, should have everything in your arsenal. Thomas says it right there. 21-9. He's got, I would think there's no other way for Thomas. He does not have Navy getting in the end zone because you're not going to, obviously, you could get 6 and try to go for 2, or, but again, with 21, you just figure those are 3 sevens. So I think Thomas has 3 field goals here. This gives Thomas Air Force and under. All right. The Washington State Cougars are going to take on the Oregon Ducks. And, well, this looks like kind of a high spread here. Look, I know Oregon, what can you say? They've had a great season. They lost last week. Remember, they lost to Washington 36-33. And, Oregon's rushing the ball for over 200 yards a game. But the one thing to note with this particular series is, even though Oregon's been a juggernaut, a powerhouse for years, right? Dating back. We've seen the rise of the Oregon program in all the sports. And Washington State, what can you say? They've been in kind of, the bottom of the Pac-10 in a lot of things. And they are one of the teams that have been left out of the, party. They got kicked out of the league. They were, kicked out of the deals, if you will, of moving on. So all this FCS steam rolling in over here, you guys. I'm excited. Do want to mention one quick note, however. We did give out the under in the Phillies Diamondbacks game, and that total has already been hit. I know we're not supposed to get off the topic here, but I just have to mention it because that total is going down here to 7.5. So please, if you were on with me or you like the under, this is your moment right now. This game is already on the move in a lot of places and going down to 7.5. I guess once I gave it out, you guys, everyone piled on. See, Liverpool beat Edmonton here today. Now, let's continue on. I'm not supposed to get off these games. Okay. So we've been in the same boat with these two teams. Oregon, it's kind of been Oregon, and uh, Washington State. This is actually quite a good, you know, great season so far. 4-2 record. Washington State's been covering numbers in conference games over the last couple of seasons. They've covered 14 of their last 20 conference games. Now the Ducks, ever since Lanning's come in, they are 6-1 against the spread as a home favorite, and 8-3-1 in the Pac-12 since Lanning has taken over. I mean, they got Nix at quarterback, but Washington State's not in too bad of a situation either. They played pretty well. Not great as a road underdog since coming out of the pandemic, but last two they started 4-0. Remember, and they've lost the last two to teams like this. Basically, they lost to UCLA just 25-17. Probably not like this. Oregon maybe is a notch above, but also to Arizona. They're not in Oregon's category either, but good program through the years nonetheless in conference. But that one was 44-6, and the Cougars were outgained by over 2-1 yardage margin in those two games. But here's the thing for me: Oregon is just always too heavily favored. Want to mention, Gerardo. I'll get to that maybe in just a minute. Pump it up here a little bit. But Washington State's covered 11 of the last 13 meetings in this series. It's almost all I need to know to a certain extent. This isn't a series where Oregon puts on the juice. That's what it feels like to me. They do, but they don't. And here's the thing: you see the total there at 60, and that one's pretty even. I can figure that out. Interesting to note that total. Let me take a look and make sure it is still 60 because it opened 55.5 and has continued to go up here. And yeah. So 60, even I could figure this one out. That would be 40-20. And interestingly, Oregon has won the last 4 games, averaging 40.5 points per game. Now, Washington State, I feel like they're a little bit better this year than those last couple of teams. And the Cougars, their last mentioned, covering 11 of the last 13. Well, how about 5-0-1 against the spread against the Ducks in the last 6 meetings? Now, that is over, 12 years basically. And this one has gone over in 14 of the last 19 meetings. And, well, it might go over again today, but that price sure is inflated. But I think that's the way I'm going to look here in this game, though, is going to be on the over. This one's already gotten away from me. I'm not tipping my hand here, but these are probably some pretty solid. I feel like these are some pretty solid trends here with Washington State in this matchup. So be on the lookout. We'll have premiums here. We'll see what we're doing, but give me the over in this one. This one's gotten away, but I feel like Washington State gets it on the back end and maybe gets that money as well. And I will take over in this one today. All right. Oregon, though, and over for Thomas. So Dre likes the under. All right. A couple more coming your way with North Texas going up against Tulane here. This is a pretty good matchup here midday with Tulane. They're having an excellent year, obviously, right now. Tulane, very strong record here at this point, coming into this one at 5-1, 3-1 at home, and North Texas with a 3-3 record in here. The North Texas has gone over in 4 of 6 games, but Tulane has gone under in five of their 6 games so far this season. So let's see here. The line currently in this one still at 20 and a half. 63, maybe even 63 and a half here in this one. Bottom of the rotation pretty much here for 11 4 12. When we talked about this game on that opening lines show, it was Tulane minus 20 or so, and went down to 19, but has since come back here up to 20 and a half. And this total has continued to rise higher. It opened 58 and a half, and whoa, it's now 63. Well, North Texas has gone over in 6 of their last 8 contests. Tulane 13-3 in their last 16 conference games, but uh, North Texas is a pretty good team when getting points. So, but for me, I'm going to end up on the under here in this one. I think this one's just crept up a little bit too high now at this point at 63, and I'm going to have to come back on the under here. Uh, we know Tulane pretty strong offensively with Pratt, and uh, Rogers pretty good as well for North Texas. But for me, the line, the 4.5 point move here to the over is going to have me on the under in this one. We do have, let's see here. All right. No picks maybe here from you guys. I'll get to a couple late games here with UCLA, a 17-point favorite at Stanford tonight in this one. And UCLA opened a 14-point favorite when we were on the opening line show, and this total opened 57 and a half, and we're all the way down here to 52 now. Well, that doesn't feel too great. I'm going to have to give out the under here just because of that. After all, I already was thinking under, but man, have I missed out on this one. This one opened 57 and a half, and all the way down here to 52. That's kind of the way that I was looking, anyways, with the situation here. UCLA on the road. Yeah, Stanford has plenty of issues, but um, I don't know if UCLA is going to get to that point total here. I mean, if you look at this one, logically, I guess you're looking at what, 34-17, right there, 34-17. Now, is UCLA gonna put up necessarily that kind of number? Well, I might dial it back just a little bit and think maybe 31-14 might be more in line here with this one. And I'm going to end up taking the under here with UCLA and Stanford. Jimmy, thank you for your plays today. So, all right, that's just where I'm going to be here in this one. And look, the move has come in here to the, like I said, to the under big time. And, well, I was probably going to go at 50. I was good for a premium here in this one at like 55. But that was what the original move was on that opening line show when we were on the show. It was 57 and a half open and then went down to 55. I was still all about it. I'm not even sure on the side. It might be right on for me. I don't think we're going to get there at a premium there, and I can't do a premium now on the under. Arizona State and Washington in this one. And the Huskies are a massive, massive favorite here against the Sun Devils. But I will say this. This is another one where, for whatever reason, I know this is the last year of the Pac-12, so I'm probably to throw these well, maybe not, but Arizona State always gets the number against the Huskies. Doesn't matter. Home, road, favorite, underdog. Well, ASU is usually the dog, but uh, not all the time. I mean, this trend is like a decade and a half long or longer. Arizona State has covered 14 of the last 15 meetings against the Washington Huskies. And if I'm getting 26 and a half points, granted, it opened 28 and a half, was as low as 23, and did get as high as 30 and a half. I don't know. Did it really run the gamut like that? I'm looking at the line service, so I'm going to kind of take their word for it, but they could be using a early number as well. But even as as crazy as things can get in the Pac-12, I don't think I can pass on a 14-1 spread run when you're getting 26 and a half points. Now, like I said, Washington's been favored enough in this series that they must just, take the Sun Devils more lightly. Maybe they're in some sandwiches here and there. Whatever the case may be, it's allowed Arizona State to get the number virtually every time. And this total opened 56 and a half, went as high as 62 and a half, and is back down to 60 here, indicating, we'll have some points. Again, Washington, if you look at this one, uh, you're looking at like 43-17. And is that really, can Arizona State be limited here to 17 points in a game that usually they cover? Feels like some more Pac-12 no defense action that allows Arizona State to somehow get there. And I'm taking Arizona State plus the points. I mean, 14-1 spread run over the last 15 meetings. I'm going to have to, I am a trends guy in certain situations. Now, I might not be too concerned about Major League Baseball games, with the roof closed on a Tuesday. But if I'm getting year after year of covers from Arizona State against Washington, I'll take that one.